Hey, well, this is Jonathan Cronkhite with Bringing Faith Home, and this morning I get to meet with Marty Gonterman. Actually, I should say you get to meet with Marty. I've known Marty over the last 4 or 6 months. We've gotten to know each other, and he's become a good friend and encourager and discipler for me. So Marty, when his kids were younger, did family devotion. So I thought we would get a glimpse of what he did with his family for family devotions. So Marty, tell us a little bit about your family situation and your lovely wife and your kids, their ages, and what they're doing now.
Sharon and I met when we were in our 20s working for an advertising agency. We got married and have 2 kids. Jennifer is 28 and Scott is 21. We've been living in Florida since 1992. Moved down here from Michigan. We were Christians when we met, and we raised our children in as strong a Christian home as we could. My wife quit her job the day that my daughter was born and has not been back since. Challenging to be a stay-at-home mom, but our kids got the rewards of that. So, in terms of
And Scott, how old is Scott?
Scott's 21.
Scott's 21.
He's trying to finish college right now. Lives at home with us from time to time. He's been away to college 3 or 4 times, and is a junior now. So.
Okay, and share with us the exciting news that Scott asked you about a month ago.
Well, when you're raising your kids, you do what you can. You pray for your kids. You hold them up to the Lord. Leave them with open hands. Our kids are energetic. My daughter right now is just left her job in Fort Lauderdale. Now she's in El Salvador. You never know where these kids are going to be. Scott, also very energetic, but all the input we had in his life, I was not surprised, but well pleased the other day when he asked if I would actually spend time with him, discipling him. Came back to dad, which is different. There aren't a lot of fathers after age 17 or 18 that get to have a lot of input in their kids' lives, spiritually, time to time, but he's talking about some deep input. This is really rare. I was actually shocked. So we're going to start meeting, actually we started already, on a discipleship program that's actually formatted with times we meet, studies, doing evangelism together, all the things that you wish you could do with your son that most people never get a chance to do. So this is encouraging for me.
So, what's encouraging for me and for us is that you did something right, and God's been at work in your life and in your family, and your kids are walking with the Lord. And so Marty had a weekly family time with his family, and he called it the family altar. So I asked Marty if he would share about the family altar with us and what they did and sort of format, and he's got some props that he's got to show us as well. So I don't know where to start, but
I'll start talking. We called this time a family altar instead of devotions. This wasn't a daily thing. We had from time to time daily devotionals together. Me and my daughter would meet from time to time. Not consistently. I had my own. This was more of a family meeting once a week.
Almost like a family worship service.
Exactly what it was. It was on a Wednesday night. We'd gather for anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour, hour and a half, depending on the kids' schedules. But it was consistent. After supper, we'd get together and sit down. And it started off just singing songs and me talking over the years, and we started doing this when my daughter was probably 9 or 10. My son would have been 2 or 3 at the time. And we did them for a number of years until They were so busy. I think late high school, we might have been having one a month. My daughter would be home from time to time, but when they were still home in grade school and junior high and early high school, this was every week without exception. Priority for the kids and a priority for us. So we'd gather around in our dedicated room. We had a living room we never used unless we had company over, so we turned that into our family altar room. That's what we did mostly in there, and it was a very spiritual time for us, and the kids surprisingly well behaved, which you never know with 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old kids. And I'm not sure if it was our enthusiasm about the time. My wife was totally on board with this, and I think when the father is zealous about it and enthusiastic, the kids fall in line. That was our experience. So that's kind of the format. It was time of singing, some teaching, a lot of questions from the kids, and the format, 45 minutes to an hour, those kinds of things. So sometimes I pre-planned, sometimes I didn't. Usually I did, with either lessons or something interesting. We had special occasion events around holidays. There were seasonal topics that we covered, winter, summer, fall, what happened in the Bible in those seasons, things like when it's autumn, the trees die. We might even touch on things like death or eternal life, changing seasons. There's so many different things you can do, and a lot of different aids these days, which we didn't have back then, that can help you with those kind of things.
So on the topic of topics, how would you pick your topics? I mean, I guess a whole variety of ways. Maybe, like you said, the seasons and the holidays.
Sure.
Maybe some of the stuff your kids were going through. Did you like friends or relationships, and did you tie that into your family worship time?
The topics were never about what was going on personally with the kids. Those came at the end, because if we were teaching on some of the Proverbs, we might ask, how's it going at school with these sorts of things, or they more often would volunteer what's going on. And if the kids didn't ask any questions, the family altar time would have taken 45 minutes. Never did. We spent half an hour to an hour just dealing with questions or comments they had, and my kids weren't shy about asking this. They were never in a rush, because they weren't going anywhere that night anyway. So better family altar than homework, right? But they always had questions, and almost always related to something going on either at school or in their personal life. Friendships, conflicts at school. We tended not to use that time to discipline them. If something weird happened in school that day, we wouldn't use a Bible verse to discipline them in front of each other. We saved that for other times. This was a worship time more for them, not for us to...
That is key. That really is key for whether it's a family devotion, daily thing, or a weekly thing. I mean, we've got to separate disciplinary issues and disciplinary times from our worship time focused on God.
Sure. Well, the issue for us was, how do you communicate the love you have of God to your kids? Hard to do. They can see it in your daily life if they see you enough. So how do you end up with a child who doesn't come to God and feel guilty, that has an open face relationship with God? So these are the kind of things we have in mind when we're doing our family altar. We tried to use some creative techniques of teaching. We called it family altar. We actually built an altar.
I know. Show them this.